Okay, so hopefully everyone can see this okay. Hi, my name is Meredith. My talk today is going to be about the Sentry integration platform. So a quick overview of Sentry, very high level. If you don't know what it is, Sentry's platform helps developers diagnose, fix, and optimize performance of their code. With Sentry, software teams can easily trace issues related to errors, performance problems, and trends in code quality. At Sentry, we use Sentry every day, and I could not imagine doing my work without it. It's an incredible developer tool, and it's grown so much over the last few years. So these numbers are just to impress you, but also show you that a lot of people use Sentry, not only use it, but depend on it. So a little more context about me and my journey at Sentry. 2016 was definitely a big year. A lot of change happened in that year. And for me specifically, it was the year that I joined Sentry. I joined as the first support engineer at Sentry, and then later moved to the engineering side, where I've gotten to do a bunch of things, most of them integration related, and most relevant to this talk today is my work that building out the integration platform. So I'm here today to talk a little bit more about that and why I think it's great. So kind of a little outline of like where I'm going to go with this, talking more about just integrations in general, why we wanted to build this platform, and how I think the UI augmentation really helped achieve the goals that we set out when building the platform. So first and foremost, integrations are important. Like I said, most of my work that I've done at Sentry over the past 4 years has been about integrations. Sentry offers a lot out of the box. It's a great tool, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. People like to use all sorts of tools in their developer workflow. And, we want to be able to support as many people as possible. I'd say that the top 3 categories of integrations would be project management, alerting, and source control. Most people have one integration from each of these kind of categories. And the other thing that makes them important is data from these integrations can actually make Sentry more useful. So for example, our GitHub integration, you can have commit tracking, and that can help you triage the issues more quickly. Jira has issue syncing, which can help decrease resolution time. So they are pretty important to getting like the full Sentry experience. But they are also very hard. And there are a ton of things. I could like complain about integrations as much as I love them. I could complain all day, but I think the things that stood out to me the most about integrations are that they are different enough where you can't just say, okay, here is our skeleton for all of our alerting and just plug them in and have every one of them work the same. This is because different companies have different ways of integrating, of different ways of authenticating, different ways of returning response codes or, their error messages. Like it varies a lot. And we have a pretty small team. So that means that every time that we decide to build an integration at Sentry, we invest a lot of that domain knowledge on our team being towards knowing these external APIs, the nuances between our integrations, what integrations share and what they don't. And then the other part is, okay, well, we've built the integration. That was a lot of work. Well, debugging and maintaining this integration is also a lot of work. It's hard because you may not know what's over there. There can be unexpected changes in those endpoints that you're relying on, or even the whole app that you're relying on. So enter in the integration platform. We know they're hard, integrations are hard, and we know they're important. So we want to build a platform that makes it easier for people to build more meaningful integrations on top of Sentry. Yay, so we did this. We went and we built the integration platform. So now I want to talk about the UI augmentation and how I think that helped with this goal. But first I want to give a little bit more context, like, what is this? What are we augmenting? And this is straight from the doc, so there's a lot more information that you can get on this if you're curious, but basically the UI augmentation piece of this is the ability to add UI components to Sentry itself through this JSON schema-based system. And we currently have two ways, or two places in Sentry that you can do this. So here, I don't know if you can see this super clearly, but basically this is a screenshot of what, if you're looking at an error in Sentry, what it would look like. The first example here is the stack trace link. I'm not going to go over the details of this, but that is one of the ways in which you can augment the UI. The other is this linked issues here. There's a bunch listed here because this is a test account, but essentially, if you're looking at this error and you're like, hey, I want to track this in Jira, or I want to track this in another service, you'd click that little plus button and this modal will come up. So this is an example of the Azure DevOps issue, which we built this integration. But now for other developers building on the platform, for example, Clubhouse, the schema on the left is all that you need to define, to get this modal basically to pop up. Like, we've already done the work to handle all the front end stuff. You just need to tell us what fields you want, whether they're required or not. And if you have a field that's like a select field that you want, to have the data be dynamic, meaning we make a request to your service to get back data, you can just put the URI there. So this is pretty cool. Clubhouse is one of the first partners to build on this platform, so that's why I'm using them as an example. So how did this UI augmentation help with our goal? This is our goal again, build a platform that makes it easier for people to build meaningful integrations. Currently, if you look at our project management section of our integrations, basically half of these are on the platform. Clubhouse, ClickUp, Linear, and Teamwork are all on the platform. Linear and Teamwork were just added recently, actually. It's a win for the developers that use Sentry. There are now more integrations. They have more options. I think it's a win for the teams building on the platform because they have flexibility within the schema to define what form fields they want, whether they're required or optional, and even if they want Sentry data to pre-populate, for example, in the description area. And it's a win for Sentry because we don't actually have to build the integration. The work for us is to review and publish the application. And the maintenance is only for the platform. So we're always going to have to maintain the platform. Just because someone builds another integration on top of it doesn't mean that the maintenance gets larger. So that's pretty great. And the one last thing, I didn't have a ton of time to go over this in more detail, but I think for me, one of the most unexpected things, like benefits of the integration platform, is we actually have what we call internal integrations, which means I've been talking a lot about how you'd use the platform as like another company to build on top of Sentry and have that app be distributed through other users. But what if you want to build something custom? You can do that too. Enterprise customers have actually used the platform to build their own version of Azure or their own version of Jira because of restrictions and permissions, or even just the customization. So it's been really cool to see this platform grow and be successful. And yeah, so thanks for listening. This is, hit me up if you have any more questions.